Hello. Okay. Yes. Yes. My signature start to every single stream. Yawning inexplicably into the mic. You know, well, I've kind of gotten some ideas of what I want to do. They could be topical, actually, of recent events. For me, not recent events. Of like, I don't follow any current events. Don't be ridiculous. Being interested in the state of the world. Why would I do something so foolish as that? But in the case of current events, for me, I recently applied for a job at a pet store, and I I've said in the past that I have a major in geology and biology, so I thought why not to kind of give you guys some more things to chew on with stuff that I've worked with. Honestly, something I'm more familiar with than even the usual, I say usual, big air quotes there, things that I draw, the usual being, naked people, which we'll talk about later, something that's been on my mind lately. Uh, but I actually have a lot of experience in scientific illustration, and animals and biology are something that I personally have had a lot of interest in since I was like a kid, and it's one of my favorite topics actually. So I thought, you know what? Why not draw some animals, draw something? I don't know. I could just go generic, what I usually default to whenever I want to draw anything biology related, and I'm just gonna draw a dinosaur. Why not? It's my go-to. But yeah, I mean I've mentioned in the past that I have a degree in geology, but that degree in geology is mainly the basis for what I wanted to go into, which is actually a more of a biology background, and the biology background is paleontology. One second, I'm gonna go ahead and close my door so that way I'm not being a loud, obnoxious asshole. But um, But yeah, I can do a couple of things. I'll start with a dinosaur, my personal favorite, a Utah raptor, and we'll actually mix it up. And here's how we're mixing it up. I'm going to try something new, kind of a technique I've never done before, or rather applied to dinosaurs. I'm going to focus on techniques I've been using a lot lately. I'm going to focus. Ooh, fuck. I'm going to focus a lot less on the um, the illustration side and actually focus on making a painting. So I'm gonna go ahead real quick question. I'm gonna grill you guys, give you a couple seconds. I'm gonna ask this question, then I'm gonna talk about some stuff. Wait for you guys' responses, and then we'll decide. What do you think? What color do you think I should use? What's the general color scheme I should go with? Kind of throw out some ideas. Should I go with more of like a parrot, maybe some emerald green, oranges, yellows? Should I go for more of a, give me like a bird. Give me a bird color or a type of bird. Hell, you could say pigeon. I'll make a pigeon. I'll make a dinosaur that has pigeon colors. But I mean, yeah, I just need a kind of a color basis, because when you start painting, the thing about painting, it is more focused on the colors you use and less about etching in every single detail. So kind of knowing your palette beforehand is important for doing any sort of color work. So in that case, somebody said pink. I could do like a flamingo. I could do a flamingo color on something. And if it's a flamingo color, we're going to go with Struthiomimus. Why not? I'm gonna go ahead and look up a picture really quick. I mean, I don't. I know what a Struthiomimus. I think I know what a Struthiomimus looks like, but I just want to make sure. Uh, Struthiomimus. Hey, look. Google auto-corrected for me. Struthiomimus are like, essentially, if you remember Gallimimus from Jurassic Park, they're those. That's actually the group that Gallimimus is a part of, is Struthiomimus. They're just kind of like ostrich-looking dinosaurs. So we're gonna go ahead. First thing first, and I mean, like, this is something I've learned with any coloring, is always make your palette, well, always keep your palette up to date. Whenever you use a color, and this can depend on the situation. When it's something like when it's something specific like oh, the resolution on this is ass, I need to resize my picture. Oh, fucking 200 pixels, what the hell? Let's go 8.5 by 11. That seems like a... Oh. Wait, what? Oh, no. What have I done? Ugh! Oh, that's what happened. What the heck? There we go. 8.5 by 11. Good old standard picture size. But one thing you want to always keep track of are your palettes. And while this might be a little bit different because I'll be using a lot of tones and shading and whatnot, the palettes are still something like anytime you use a new color, you should always save it just in case, so that way you're using consistently the same color pattern. Because while the ink drop tool is useful, it's not really perfect, I've noticed. Like, it's really easy to actually lose your original hues if you're not careful. So you just gotta preserve that, and always keep, anytime you use a new color, just save it, put it on the palette. Kind of like an actual painting. But we'll go ahead and do a Struthiomimus. Here, let me go ahead and find my picture. Yeah. Kind of make it like a flamingo too. I kind of need a picture of the skull, if anything, because I know what they look like. Yeah, it's very bird-like. But yeah, I recently acquired a job. Well, not a. I bite my tongue there. That's a bad thing to do. I have not acquired a job yet. I hope I have a job. I'm really excited, mainly because the place that I applied, I posted the picture online, kind of showcasing or talking about that development. But it's for a local animal store and pet store. And the reason why that kind of excites me, personally, is just because, well, it might be a potential for a job that, while it's not a science field, is at least more applicable to my major than anything else I've worked since I've gotten out of college. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it'll use all sorts of things that I learned from, yeah, I'll send puppy pics. And I promise I won't give any of the cats STDs. But yeah, the pet store is super chill from what I can tell. A lot of the people I met were really cool, and when it comes to animals, like, I'm not a prudish person to begin with. I mean, if you guys have pretty much, the internet as a whole, and then the lovely people I've met through Soapbox Banhammer and whatnot, have pretty much all but ruined any sort of prudishness I've ever had. So at this point in my life, I'm just kind of like, it doesn't really faze me anymore. Nothing really does. And I've actually worked with animals in the past. Animals are awesome. I love animals. They're fun to work with. They're interesting. And it's not I. That's the thing is, I feel like I have a pretty good shot at this because I have the personal experience with animals and customers, but I also have the personal expectation and understanding that I'm not going to that job to play with the pets. Like, I'm not there to play with animals. I'm there to take care of and sell animals. So, I feel like a lot of people would be like, yeah, pet store, that sounds awesome. I get to play with dogs all day. And I'm sitting here like, no, I'm going to have to shovel shit and put up with probably a lot of cantankerous animals. And that kind of works for me. I've worked with plenty of animals, some of which were bigger than me and even upset with me at the time. The largest animal I've ever held personally was a red-tailed boa back in high school, and it even we were on a my favorite story to tell with this red-tailed boa. I loved this boa. One of my favorite animals in the class by far in an environmental ed course. But this boa had a bad outbreak of mites like at the time, and she was just really cantankerous. She didn't want to be touched. She didn't want to be moved. Fair enough, understandable. But we actually went. Me and a couple of other students went on a trip to an elementary school to show animals off and be responsible adults, I guess, even though it's high school. I know, it's so weird. It's so weird to think back and be like, man, I used to think that's responsibility. That ain't fucking responsibility. It's a responsibility of education, but not really much else. But when I was younger, we went to this school, and I'm holding on to this 7-foot boa, and it starts hissing at me, and just one of my proudest moments was just looking at it with it wrapped around my neck and body, and just going, "Shut up, you!" Like it doesn't bother me. I wasn't really afraid of it and worried about it. And the best thing about that story was I had a disgruntled boa, yet the other classmates who came with me, one of them got bit by the teacher's personal corn snake, which really cracked me up. It was just like, how did you guys mess that up? It kind of blows my mind. I'm just like, you had to deal with a 3-foot snake, and I had a pissed off 7-foot boa and didn't have a problem. So I'm super comfortable with animals. I'm super comfortable with kids. I love talking about animals with anyone, and kids are like the best outlet to talk about animals too. Like when I was a kid, when I was in high school, when I was still a kid, but high school, I still loved like studying and looking into animals. I mean, I still drew like dinosaurs and stuff all the way through high school, and that stuff just is super fascinating to me. Like, I fucking did a degree in it, and I don't regret doing that degree at all. But yeah, it's just I really hope I hear back from them. I really do. It sounds right up my alley, and it sounds like something I'd really at least enjoy. Sure, all things considered, unfortunately, the truth is the pay is gonna fucking suck. But I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the money. But yeah, I'm just in it to continue gaining skills and working in areas where I feel that I want to do, rather than worry about it being super conducive and super oh it's not not gonna pay me well, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna regret doing it, and I certainly don't feel like that'll be the case. my feeling is purely on I just want to be able to feel like I'm contributing to a job where I actively enjoy doing it. You know, I might not love it every single day, but this I shouldn't at least, mind going to it. I shouldn't feel miserable doing it. And that was the problem with the last couple jobs I had is the honest fact was I was miserable. Those jobs sucked. Those jobs made me feel horrible. I don't know if I would claim that they were life ruining. If they were life ruining, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys, trying to continue to do the things I'm doing. But they certainly didn't make me feel hell. Like the last job made me really skeptical in not necessarily being like I'll never get a job again, but more like, man, I don't know if I'll ever actually get to enjoy a job. I don't know if I'll ever at least like have a job where the people there make it worth doing the job, you know? I was really concerned about that because while my job at the Oriad was super stressful and not pleasant, I still enjoyed most of the people I worked with, even though it was still super stressful and there were a lot of assholes still. The job was still, it felt like I at least had some support. Granted, then I got fucking cut loose like a strand blowing in the wind, but that's beside the point. It it really was discouraging with this last job because it was just like, man, I hated that job. I just anyone who knows me from like I posted this to my Facebook page, so I'm not saying I didn't dislike working with the people I worked with, but that job overall I didn't get to spend enough time with those people. Like that's even what it was. I don't mind doing a job that is not pleasant as long as I can, have some support, I guess. Because, not every day is going to be great, but I try not to wear my attitude to work. I actually do try to. I feel like that's an important thing, and somebody it's better to be somebody who tries their best even at their worst state, and I mean really tries and strives for that, than somebody who uses excuses to like get out of work and get away from work. At least that's my personal opinion. And I try to be that kind of person. Like I honestly do. And when it came to it, the people who I enjoyed working with I only got to work with them for less than a fifth. Well, that's even saying a lot. I got to work with them for about an hour out of my full-time position. The rest of the time, it was between extremely unpleasant to legitimate hatred. And it sucks. I hate saying that about a job because I want to feel like every job I leave on the best, most positive note that I can with the people I work with, and want those jobs to still be like things that I can reference, that they can say, yeah, no, Link was somebody who we were glad to have. Which I still get the impression that I was. Don't get me wrong. I think my boss, a lot of people didn't like him, but he seemed at least chill most of the time, and we got along. So, but overall, like he told me outright, he like really appreciated it, and definitely said to put him down as a reference, and that's still what I strive for, even if I hate, and I mean like that's some jobs are just unpleasant. Some people don't like the jobs. That makes sense. Even if I disliked the job, I still want to be able to leave it feeling like, my maybe disdain for the job didn't actually prevent me from doing the job and prevent me from putting on a good face, I guess. Because I understand that, you can't, not every job's going to be perfect. Not every job is enjoyable, but for me there has to be something. And at least I recognize that I can do something about a bad job. I can do something about some place that I'm working that I just don't like. There's nothing wrong with being able to admit that. There's nothing wrong with being able to say, you guys, the people I'm working with, they're fine, but this job is, I'm not happy. That nobody can hold that against you, no matter how valuable you are. If you are not happy with something, you are totally in the right and justified to change it for yourself. You just also have to remember you're responsible for that. So, if anybody out there who does know me personally and is watching, again, I do appreciate the time that I worked at that job, and I just gotta say I don't miss it still. So that's there's no way to nothing, no two ways about that. And I mean, like, it was a stressful job for everyone involved. So, like, the people who are still working there, good on them. And I've certainly gained a lot more. I mean, it's not like I mistreated people in food service, but this job after my first one, which was being a cook, and this one being almost a direct customer service food person, props. You have to retail, which I'm about to go back into a retail job, but at least I have the forethought this time. You gotta put up with a lot of shit. You gotta put up with a lot of just it's so weird. It's just like it feels like people are out of sync. Like they don't see people a lot of times. It's really disturbing, at least to me. Like, it's really uncomfortable. I mean, I just don't get how people can treat people like that, especially the people who are serving you your food and drink. It really is uncomfortable. I don't know what drives people to treat people that way, and I don't think it even is a like class thing purely, because I feel like there are still people even who are in just a bad spot who'd still treat people poorly for in service work jobs, and I don't get that. I didn't before, and I certainly don't now, most definitely, because of how it's shitty. It's just shitty treatment. I don't get it. Maybe I'm weird for that. I don't know. I don't think I am. I actually don't think I am, so I guess I have that going for me. But like I said, with this new job, I'm hoping two things. Here's what I'm hoping. It's better. I just generally enjoy it overall more than the last job. And, even if it's still, there's nothing that's going to be perfect. Like I said, I'm fully well aware of the challenges of working with animals and people still, especially, because I've worked a job with people. I recognize what I am going to be doing. On the wrong layer again. I recognize, that this job is still going to have responsibilities that I'm going to have to take care of. Just, hopefully I'll be better. I will be better, actually. Like, I'll be more resilient and more capable of handling them. Because, the last job broke me. It really did. It was very not a good time, not a fun time. So yeah, I'm certainly not going to feel disillusioned and like, this job is going to be any less stressful. That's certainly not what I'm saying. Just, I hope this job is better, is all, or that I at least enjoy it more, or I don't know, that I just do a better job of not letting it wear me down so quickly. I guess that's mainly what it is, I think. And I've already gone through two pretty stressful jobs, so I feel like I'll be able to handle it better. Hmm. One second. That being said, this will definitely be the first job that I'm going into it with actual prior experience. That's another reason why I'm like, yeah, no, this will be at least better. Mainly for just the fact that I have experience with children, with uh, animals, with all of those things. Those are all things that I have done before in the past, and that I'm fairly comfortable with and enjoy doing. So, Fuzzy's having issues with the damn thing. I'm gonna turn on some more music. That elevator music ran out much faster than I was expecting it to. 27 minutes, jeez. Did I leave you guys in the fucking Twitch thing that long? I'm so sorry. I I'm really bad about that. I'll be honest. I If you guys are curious, I don't think I've ever actually explained why I pretty much just have 15 to 20-minute long intros. Part of it is I do like sharing the music, but I'm going around, you know, shamelessly posting wherever it is. Don't care if I get downvoted or whatnot, to all the corners of the internet that I frequent, who seem to legitimately enjoy watching my content. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't want people to join me and watch with me. Um, so that's why it is. I'm slow at it. Maybe, I don't know. I also have a pretty slow computer, but I just I post around. Call me shameless. That is one thing that I at least am personally proud of, I guess, in the sense of I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, and that is I I post, but I don't expect actually anyone to join, and I don't go into it. I've kind of made a creed for myself, that all of this that I'm doing, I should be able to do it on my own without the requirement of an audience and still be able to make content that people can watch. That's what I'm going into this with the mindset of. So if you're here for the drawing, or if you're here for the commentary, or the intro music and nothing else, like that's at least something that I like to provide. Like I feel like it is something that I do, maybe not uniquely. Certainly there are plenty of other streamers and whatnot who stream music before what they do. I think when it comes down to creating anything or sharing anything, uh, you should be always doing it with the belief that you have no expectation of anyone ever actually watching. Um, I honestly do, I guess. I know it's not the case, or else nobody would be watching, and I would be continually streaming to no one, and that's the point. Is you should be able to enjoy doing it without anyone being there, you know? It's not a requirement. Nobody needs to see the things that I make for me to feel like I am contributing and making something or doing something that I enjoy, you know? I feel like that's kind of a misnomer that a lot of people who start off doing things, seeing things like, Game Grumps and stuff, and being like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to make crazy video game videos, or I wanna do live streaming and whatnot. I don't think they understand that your community doesn't exist when you first start. It just doesn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if anything, that's a good thing. If you were just expected to deliver to thousands of people right off the bat without any experience, without any understanding of what you're doing, you're immediately going to flop. You're immediately going to fail. But when you don't even have to have the expectation of presenting anything meaningful to anyone, that gives you the chance to be able to experiment and feel more comfortable and branch out your actual content. That's why I'm starting to realize and recognize that for me, my favorite places to go on the internet, my favorite content creators and providers, have started shifting away from the more popular channels and stuff, though they still exist. My friends recently got me into a couple of new things. I've been quoting a lot of iDubbbz, though he doesn't quite post enough content. He's kind of turned into another demo for me, where I was just like, man, I wish I would have been in this guy's heyday. Though iDubbbz is relatively still active, actually, compared to Demo. Demo is still father. He is still dad, and he refuses to take responsibility for his creation. I might have been an accident, but you still created me. No, like, I've found that I've started following a lot more smaller channels and a lot more smaller content creators who don't have as big of communities, purely for the fact of, I get that. And I think there's less of an expectation and less pressure on creators that size to release things near as often or as high quality, because it's more for the person and less for the content. Once you start getting into, and Demo talked about this, and I totally agree with him, and whatever happens, but, and I'm not saying that I think that I will ever get to this point. Who knows? Give me a couple years, but if I'm at least somewhat relatively popular and active, I mean, I would totally be surprised. But for Demo, he recently, not recently, I recently saw a video of him talking about this from his perspective. And he feels disillusioned. He feels like he enjoyed it more when it was smaller, and when it was more personal, and there wasn't a risk to step on anyone's toes, I guess. Bye-bye. But, Demo's an interesting example in that I like him purely for the fact that it definitely feels like, while we're not the same people, and I'm not. While originally he inspired a lot of my content, I certainly am going my own way and trying to find my own personal identity. I agree with him a lot, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if he knows of my existence, even cares, or if he does, he might actually just hate me, and that's totally understandable, because I'm like the closest thing to a diehard fan, I guess, who also tries to not actually be a diehard fan. But, and I mean, he hates his diehard fans, understandably so. I feel like I would hate my diehard fans, like true diehard fans who don't give a shit about me and just bug me for more content. And that's what he was like. He's not gonna be known for anything else. And then he's always gonna be expected, when's his next video out? When is his next content out? And for him, he was always doing it for the enjoyment of doing it. He did it because he wanted to, And that's not just noble for me. That is legitimately like, no, that is how I feel as well. I want to be doing this because I enjoy doing it. But I already know that that will come off as me being kind of a dick, I guess, to whatever larger group of people as I continue doing this, and if more people continue watching and I keep on getting more people, people who just are interested in the content and nothing else, you know, I feel like I will really frustrate a lot of people because they just want to see me make stuff or whatever I'm gonna make, and especially want to see me make specific stuff, which I never really got, you know, even when I didn't do as much content creation or making anything. I never got the mentality of an expectation for an individual to make anything, even if it was something that they were disciplined at or something that they clearly showed and proved that they knew a lot about and did often. You know, I'm certain this is not surprising for anyone watching, but, you know, the people who make things for you are not required to make things. A lot of, I mean, I do. I make it because I make the things I do and provide the things I do because I enjoy doing them. And it just so happens that I've found people who also enjoy that. But the people who like will demand or be like, when's next upload? You do this, do that. It just is. It's like, I know there needs to be some sort of level, but and you can't just abandon fans, I guess. But the fans need to understand that, you know, there's still a person, I guess. There's still somebody's making it. They have lives. I have a life. Fuck, I'm currently going through all sorts of bullshit still, personally. Everyone has personal bullshit they're going through. So, like, everyone in the case of Demo who says, like, you know, who gives him shit for not posting or anymore, or, like, you know, asks when the next upload is coming, unironically. Like, it really is annoying to me. It really is kind of an overbearing expectation from people who don't know you, asking for something just because you've provided stuff in the past, without really considering whether or not you even want to do it. That's not fair. I don't care. That's not fair. So, that being said, I mean, it is weird because I wouldn't mind maybe some guidance, and certainly it still is weird for me when shit like on my last video somebody said, when's the next part for this video coming out? And I was just like, I never thought anyone was ever going to ask me to even finish that or care if I finished it. So I was extremely surprised and unnerved, honestly. But I don't hold it against that guy. You know, I'll see how things play out. I mean, I certainly am still more in the hobby side of this, and I do want to grow this hobby. I mean, it is. I do want to grow it past that. However, I also realize that just is going to take a lot of time. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. You know, everything comes to those who are patient, and I mean, I think I'm a fairly patient person. I can be impatient. That's the thing, is anyone can be impatient, but I also can be patient. legitimately, you know. I feel confident in being able to say that because the people who will claim that, you know, use it as an arguing platform, like they'll be like, oh, you, I'm totally a patient person. You just need to do. No, I am a patient person because I won't say stuff like that. I won't. I won't make it as a claim to a defense of my character. It just is. Anyone who makes a claim of something that they are to try to defend themselves as a person probably are not that thing. And while I struggle a lot with this, which I would kind of coin as denial logic, this is a case where I think it's totally valid, and anyone who does stuff like that is in the wrong. But off of that tangent, the moral of that story is I enjoy doing this. I enjoy it. I'm going to keep doing it until the honest truth is the internet legitimately keeps me from being able to do this. The biggest concern and challenge that I'm running into right now is not being able to find people who like and enjoy my stuff. I'm actually more concerned that the people who don't like and think I shouldn't do things the way that I do them are going to start actively attacking and limiting my content. Maybe I'm paranoid for that. Maybe I am. I actually want to believe that that's my paranoia and it will never get to that point. Granted, I say that, never. I say it will never get to that point when, in personal experience, I have had things like that happen, and it's really disheartening. I kind of mentioned earlier I was going to talk about art stuff. I don't remember specifically what I said, sorry, but I've had, I mean, this has always been on my mind to some extent, but more so recently than anything else. I got in a conversation / argument recently about you know, what it's like to be an artist and have people critique and criticize your work, but not in a way that is either, you know, it's not constructive and is actually averse to your character as a person. And what I mean by that is the people who have gone in the past and used the content that I have and their judgments of it to try to pin some sort of you know, judgment of my character based on what I draw, and then make that also be a reason to not to critique my work and tell me what I should stop doing or what I shouldn't do. That's not constructive. It doesn't encourage me to want to make things. Telling somebody that they shouldn't do something is not a way to encourage them to do anything. I don't believe that's constructive in any way, and I don't care who you are. If you use that and then justify your position that, well, you just got to be harsh with them, the only thing you're doing that I will defend is teaching them a valuable lesson that they shouldn't listen to your opinion because your opinion is bad. But the problem that I'm worried about and running into is those people, I ignore them. I say, I turn the other cheek and go, fine, you can do whatever you want. I'll go back onto my business. But that's not enough, you know? They actually have to try to do something about it. And I've had content taken down. I've had content limited. You know, Twitch took down my thing. And it just makes me beg the question. You know, while I'm a proponent of pushing the limit, where do we draw the line? My issue is with that stream in particular, and my big issue with it was it wasn't warranted. It just doesn't feel warranted. It just feels, because this channel is a plus 18 channel, It's marked as mature. People of a certain maturity. You can't keep somebody underage from clicking yes, I'm 18. There's no way you can do that. But the solution then is not to just, oh, well, he's doing it anyways. Might as well just block the content, because that also perpetuates an ideology that really is harmful to my content, which is my content is suggestive, thus shouldn't be viewed by certain peer groups. And I simply just don't agree. That's like saying, kids shouldn't look at Greek art because it's nude. That's really how I think about it. And I'm starting to really think about it, and I'm like, the people who also say like things like, you should make your characters look older, honestly, there's plenty of classical Greek art, and I'm not saying this to knock classical Greek art. This is in the defense of classical Greek art that exhibit nudity and children. And it's not sexual. That's the point. That's the whole point that really gets me angry. It's too prudish. It's way too prudish. And while I get that this is the internet and Twitch has its own regulations, it still makes me ponder. It makes me skeptical on issues like that. And it is an issue in my eyes, and in my experience, because it means that people are going to react the way they do to my art and judge it, and judge me as a person based on what I make, purely based on what I make at the most superficial level possible. And while I can't prevent that, those same people are also given much more moderation and mediation over my work than I'm comfortable with. Because I don't like a lot of things that are made doesn't mean I suddenly get even the authority to claim that they shouldn't be made. I've stopped doing that. I've stopped saying Call of Duty should stop being made. No, make 500 Call of Duties. I don't care anymore. I just won't support the product. That's my choice. That is how I choose to show my opinion about that work. It doesn't mean that the work cannot be made. It just means that I'm not interested in it. I don't support it. When people actually saying I should not make certain things simply because it might seem suggestive, I just don't agree anymore. It's extremely belittling also. And it gives you power over my work, and I do not agree with that. I don't agree that anyone should have any more sway over my work than me or the person I'm commissioning. If somebody is paying me to draw them a picture, the only person who has any more sway, or who has any sway on that image's outcome other than me, is the person paying me. So, and that's what I mean. Nobody's paying me to do this. Anyone who harshly critiques anyone for something that they don't get paid for, or aren't paid for by them, I just strongly disagree in that behavior. And they have every right to tell the person doing the criticism not only that they're an asshole, but that they can fuck off. Because they don't... That's not their place, I guess. Really. I think that's okay to say from a personal perspective. Because criticism will always exist, and criticism is important. But not everyone gives good criticism, and it's okay to call out people who don't do that, Otherwise, they're just gonna fucking rain on your work, ruin it. That is my impression of those people, is they'll just ruin your work. They will slander your name, they'll tell everyone not to look at your stuff because you make stuff that they don't like, and their reasons why, and that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to do, in my book. I don't know. Like, to kind of go back to the discussion I was having with, people judging my work based on age, it's like you have better things you could do with your time, and you could be judging actual pornography that exists. Like, my image does not even hold a T to the actual terrible things that exist in the world. But yet, somehow it's conducive in people's minds to believe that they're either helping me or doing something right on their part by telling me how my work is controversial and suggestive. And I don't agree. It's immature. It is a way to try to influence something that you shouldn't have any influence on. I accept what people make anyone who makes whatever they make, no matter what they make. If they themselves as a person also seem like a genuinely interesting person. I've told a couple of my friends recently, like, I follow another artist. I've been following an artist on Facebook, and predominantly, a lot of the content they make is porn. It's what they make. But even, I still think that there's nothing, I guess, wrong if that's their decision, because they know that's what they are making. But also, it's their choice. However, in my situation, I'm not making porn, and I shouldn't be held to the criticism that I am just because people perceive it as porn, because I cannot control how people perceive my art. I can't control that. But what I can do is refute people who perceive it as that, and then thus make it a criticism of my work and character. I can defend myself, and I should be allowed to. Like, people still make the bad things, or quote unquote bad things. I still also hate the overarching concept of porn bad, but I think I understand the premise. Most porn just lacks actual substance, but it doesn't mean that that's even the only porn that's out there. So, boo. That's a totally another topic that I don't even want to fucking touch. But art is subjective, but in being subjective means that you can't. It's harder. Mediation should be harder to do. People who don't actively participate outside of their own personal, outside of just their own personal consumption of anything, they should not expect to have any more sway than their basal criticisms and appreciation for the work, if they have an appreciation for it. It is something that's kind of weighed pretty heavily on my conscience lately. It's just like, because I don't think I'm anyone. I don't think I've even gotten to a level of artistry that is warranting any significant amount of attention other than this guy can draw. That's all I think I actually possess as an artist. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I want to keep the stance of humbleness. I I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it and want to see myself grow personally. But I also don't think I really am anything special. I just recognize that the things that I can provide and the art that I make is something I can do. But I have no requirement that I should be, I don't know, seen as any less of a person, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this kind of got a little bit more ranty than I meant to. It's just something that's been bothering me lately, so. And yeah, I'm kind of sorry. Let's see how this is going. It's coming along. Think I got enough colors? Yeah, I'm gonna focus on being more Bob Ross after that talk. But one thing I've really started doing more in my work, from a painting perspective, is kind of understanding how colors can be used to create different textures and different shapes and stuff. And that's a big thing about painting that I learned, is a lot of it is just kind of filling in space, actually. You know? There we go. And kind of painting over it. And it's no different for digital painting. It actually isn't. I want to start doing a little bit more painting on my own. The actual medium of paint I've never been really inclined to do. It just is not something that comes naturally to me. I find the medium to be just difficult to handle. But that's just because I grew up with a pencil. I was born with a pencil in my hand, it feels like sometimes. And I just always used a pencil when I was going to draw something when I was younger. So, like, painting and coloring is still kind of new to me. That being said, I've also realized that it's important to branch out skills and try different mediums, because those mediums can teach you how to use the mediums that you're more comfortable with better, oftentimes. In the case of painting, a lot of my graphite and a lot of my pencil work has gotten much better because of my painting practice and my coloring practice. Because I've recognized that, you know, when you're painting, a lot of it is about overlapping and keeping things consistent and actually, you know, kind of building it up. You know. And in this case, I'm really making it a point to focus it on being more painting. So I'll go to a color. I mean, I might resize the paintbrush every now and then, but I'm trying to make it a point to kind of keep it the same. And then go where I want to add that color. Where I need it. And in this case, because it's feathers, you know, I'm kind of focusing on making it much more streaked, I guess. And I've been watching Bob Ross, prepositions, or words in general, for me. I watched some Bob Ross recently just to kind of like get an impression of what he actually does, and I like what he does. Is he just goes over how he does his work. And then watching his painting has also, you know, just given me some more techniques and things to consider when doing my own work when it comes to painting. And a lot of painting's about texturing. It's a lot about understanding how textures kind of work into the into the work. And a lot of it still is a lot of precision, and you just gotta. I kind of feel like I'm a bit of a messy artist, and I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. It's just kind of how I work, but I'm trying to get over that and focus on making those strokes that that make every stroke count. Add a little bit more pink. If you want some science facts about what we're drawing, this is Struthiomimus are really, I think they're from, I want to say Asia. I can't think of off the top of my head. Most Struthiomimus are from Asia. Struthiomimus and oviraptorans. But these are theropods, and from my understanding, they're one of the few theropods that actually are omnivorous or herbivorous. When I was growing up, being a giant dinosaur buff and looking up all the stuff about dinosaurs, I was under the assumption that all theropods were the meat eaters. They ate the meats. And I mean, like, then I had a giant, bombshell dropped on me when I found out that things like Camarasaurus apparently have been found with, like, small rodents in their stomachs. And a Camarasaurus is a sauropod, a big long neck dinosaur. But Camarasaurs, that just kind of implies that they were eating some plants and then saw a small lump of protein with legs and decided to chomp on it before it realized that the Camarasaurus had a taste for blood that day. So, at least that's my understanding. Yeah, Struthiomimus are they're in the group with oviraptorans and maniraptorans. I think they're kind of offshoot before that. They diverged before those groups, either before those groups appeared or after, but they're separate completely, and are even more closer to avians. All of the oviraptorans and the maniraptorans they're all considered bird-like dinosaurs, and this group kind of encompasses all theropods that include birds, essentially, and all of its derivatives. Let's go on a science trip, because I recently applied to that job at the animal at the pet store. Let's go on a science explanation. When I say diversity and like derivative, I think no. Derivative means it's the prior one. Divisive, I guess, is what I meant. The way that a lot of people believe that speciation works is not actually how speciation works, funnily enough. The reality of speciation is you usually have some sort of group. We'll use this as a case. You have some sort of group like theropods, and when you have something speciate, it more or less just means that it is something that is on some physiological or genetic level, or people argue which is more important, physiology or genetics, all the time. When that happens, it doesn't mean that the species go away, I guess. So a descendant is just the form that survived while the previous form ceased to continue and proliferate. That's the important part. People think that, in the example of hominids, yes, we're already getting to some good places with this. You know, how ye old good token statement, how are monkeys still around if we came from monkeys? The actual way that works is you have a... Oh boy, I'm really trying my best. You have some sort of primate, some sort of ancestor that had a speciation happen where both of them existed at the same time. And what happens from there is whatever ancestor split off, the thing can still exist, actually. In many cases it does, but in the case of hominids, a lot of those just went extinct. Possibly in the case of the newer organism, just outcompeting the old one. But in most cases, the proliferation of a species, they actually aren't in near as much stark competition as people think, and a lot of species actually coexist. And it is just when a species goes extinct is when you can say that it is an ancestral line. So, the idea that we evolved from, that anything evolved from something else, is actually kind of a misnomer. Evolution doesn't really even have a time scale. It doesn't have an expectation, and it doesn't have another misnomer is the idea that, evolution is a constant process going towards something. It's not. It's in fact one of the most unbiased processes in existence. It just does whatever works. Arguably, evolution strives for the path of least resistance and tries to avoid change whenever possible. If something works, it doesn't change. It actually doesn't. Things typically try to stay the way they are for as long as possible. Because it takes much more effort to adapt than it does to just keep doing the same thing that works. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that, especially if they don't know much about biology. And if any of this talk has been meaningful for anything, to kind of go back to the job, this is why I'm really interested and excited. I legitimately enjoy talking about this stuff. I'd enjoyed learning about it and enjoy learning about and studying it. I enjoy contributing to it. I enjoy, believe it or not, I actually enjoy the act of education and teaching people. It is something I legitimately value as something that I provide, not as someone who to prove that he's so smart, but actually in education, in knowing that somebody now has a better understanding of the world because of the things that we have discussed and that I've explained. That's why I will never be on the fence of you're stupid if you don't believe me. That's your decision. I can't do anything more than try to convince you of my position, and sorry, I guess. I have no hard feelings, I promise. But, I don't see myself as the kind of intellectual who prides themselves on the fact that they're an intellectual, I guess. Because I want to share that intellect. I want to share it in a constructive way that doesn't make people feel like I'm just swinging around how big my knowledge dick is. Like, I don't fucking care. If anything, I'm delighted when people can educate me, because I feel like I don't understand a lot of things. especially a lot of common sense things. And that's coming from a guy who tries to, who has felt like he still has more common sense than a lot of people. So, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I also, again, am still a fucking idiot and lack a lot of common sense. So, that aside, it it is very strange to me. Um, you know, oftentimes it's very it is kind of disheartening, and why I am totally okay with and actually excited to be able to work with children is because their young, malleable little brains and just natural inquisitiveness and curiosity make for just such a gratifying experience when talking and discussing things like animals and biology and science. Um, Honest, like talking, nothing is more exciting, I guess, than seeing a kid's eyes light up when they learn something about, especially about the world. It is something I think is amazing. I legitimately uh, enjoy providing and interacting with kids, because kids are so, they're just so, they're the kind of skepticism that is, they don't necessarily they are open. They're completely open to anything, which can be a problem, but is being the responsible individual who's not going to feed them misinformation. It's just so, it's so, I don't know. It's fascinating to me. It it just feels good to feel like, you're actually leaving a positive impression on someone who's especially so impressionable. And that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Again, because, many people, kids are very, very malleable, and a lot of people treat kids not only like dumb, just plain dumb idiots, without really considering how stupid the general human being is, and just being like, well, they're dumb kids. Well, yeah, they're dumb kids. They don't know half of what an adult does, and adults are still dumb as fuck. uh, but that's the point: is not a kid doesn't just have an excuse. Most kids will actually be receptive to growing their knowledge base. That's what I like about most kids. Kids actively want to learn things. They want to. The kids that I've seen, that I feel are usually the most receptive, genuinely have a genuine curiosity for things. And to see that in a kid related to biology, being a kid who grew up with a heavy interest in biology, I want to be able to provide that, remembering all of the different biologists and individuals who inspired me when I was a kid, and taught me things about the world. Because the world's a fascinating, interesting place, and adults ruin it because they just lose interest in it, and it's really disheartening, that, like, it's things like that I genuinely care about. When I say, like, I don't follow you know, regular regular events, you know what I mean, like daily events. It's not because I don't think they're important. It's because there's just so much more than politics to the world. Like, politics are purely human construction, and to just busy yourself and worry about them all the time, I'm just like, I just don't want that. I don't. Um, because politics, while they can affect the environment itself doesn't care. It doesn't have a political agenda, that's for damn sure. We have a political agenda on the environment, if anything. Uh, but the environment itself doesn't fucking care. It doesn't care about ideas. And the natural world is a really fascinating place. And kids are particularly receptive to that, I think. Like, not all kids are the same, but I would bet, regardless of, gender, most kids interact with the environment pretty similarly. Like, sure, girls are interested in different things than boys, but I still do think that most kids, because how many people, when they were growing up, when I tell them, I was going to paleontology, I'm going into paleontology, they were like, yeah, I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was a kid. Like, the the natural world is a fascinating place. It's an awesome place. Uh, it's full of such. It's just full of such wonder, I guess. And the fact that people just don't care about that, and I don't mean that from a political standpoint. I'm not talking about the people who are like, you know, don't care about the environment and thus, are affecting it poorly. No, I mean the people who just straight up don't even care. You know, it does kind of bother me. Um, you know, that they don't even see it as something that is worth being in awe about. It's not something that is worth their time on any level more than it being a political thing or being, we gotta save the rainforest. Like, people say they gotta save the rainforest, but they don't actually think about, how amazing those places are. They don't think about that. They just think, oh, it's bad that we're destroying the rainforest. They don't think about what the rainforest even is. They don't think about what's in it. They don't think about any of those things. A lot of people don't care about biology, and it has nothing to do with hippieism. It has nothing to do with environmentalism, even at this point. It all has to do with just a genuine lack of interest in in the environmental world that bothers me. And it's just because it is such a unique place. It's something that's full of things that you don't see every day. And the way that animals interact, and the way that ecology works, and the way that all that stuff works. Like, not only do we barely know anything about it in reality, but it's just so cool. There's so many different things at work there. You know? And it just pains me that a lot of people don't actually care about it itself. They just care about, being able to say that they are a good person for caring about the environment. When I don't know. I don't want to say I can guarantee, but more or less I can say that those people are only saying that for the chip on their shoulder to be like, hey, look at how good of a person I am. I don't think I'm a good person for caring about the environment. I just legitimately am fascinated by it. It's a fascinating place to engross yourself in, I think. And I think it's why, I kind of miss a lot of the. I don't use television, but I also don't know if I've seen in a long time any animal. Uh, well, there's actually been some BBC animal stuff in the last couple of years, I think. There's Big Planet 2, Planet Earth 2, Big Planet, Blue Planet 2, Planet Earth 2 came out recently, I think. I didn't even know they made a sequel, and it looks fucking awesome. I'll probably watch it. Uh, but yeah, no, it's just a general appreciation. It has nothing to do with me thinking that anyone is bad for the things that they do or judging them for their choices. But it's just not even thinking about it, I guess, or not even considering it to be something that is valuable is what bothers me, I guess, you know? Like, uh, it, it's just, it is kind of it's just an impressionable, ecology is a very impressionable thing, I think. You know, and a lot of people kind of lose touch with that, you know? They're just like, oh, well, I know what a lion is, I know what a crocodile is. They're animals. They live on this planet. You know, when to a kid, it's a fucking 120-pound cat that that kills horses. Like that's fucking awesome. But to a regular adult, it's just a lion. And it's weird, like that's why I'm excited for this job, because kids care about stuff like that. They think nature is fucking cool, or at least most kids do. The kids who care about that thing think nature is cool for the sake of being nature, and that's why I'm kind of excited with that. I'm excited to be able to hopefully get those interactions again and be able to positively influence kids to be interested in nature and in animals, when you know so many people aren't. Uh, and that's what I mean with this job is with any job. I want to go into it with an amount of personal stock and passion. So I feel like all things considered, you know, this job might work out pretty well for me. You know, I might not. Oh shit. Okay. Uh, it might not be any better, but at least I feel like it'll be the most applicable thing to the things that I've studied and my interests. That'd be great. I'd fucking love that. You know, it'd mean that I'm finally doing a job that I can do a little bit more leisurely and be able to feel less stressed about being able to pay the bills at all, because I'm not, again, I don't spend heavy, I don't waste money. Uh, as long as I have some income, I should be fine. That's the way that I'm viewing it. I will accommodate to the income I make rather than the other way around. Believe I need to make more to be able to live. Uh, I will judge whatever my income is and then figure out how to work on that income. I feel like that's a better mind mentality than believing that you need to make more money. Mm, mm, I believe you should be able to learn how to live on nothing before you are able to earn more than nothing, I guess. Uh, like, I need to have a job to make money. Or I need to have a job to make money to live, but I should be able to cater my life. I should be able to adjust my life to however much money I can make, regardless of that. So, and you still can. You're not required to make a minimum. I really don't think so. Or the minimum is much less than people let on. Than they're willing to accept. Um, especially in this day and age. Like, there's no shame. There's nothing wrong with being like, no, you can't afford that thing. You can't. You have to spend less, and that's so fucking K. You know. You, it just. I feel like people need to start. There's nothing wrong with consumerism. There's nothing wrong with the desire for things. I just think you should get an appreciation out of the things you already own. You know? Like, you shouldn't just be looking for that next thing to get that fix to preoccupy your time. Be able to appreciate all of the things you interact with. Because when you don't have the ability to get more things, you'll still have the things you appreciate to have, I guess. You know? That is where I am going, that's where I'm focusing in my life. And again, like, you know, adjust your life to however much money you make, not the other way around, like, believe that you need to be making more money to be able to live your life. I don't believe that. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be able to continue drawing, regardless of how much money I'm making, and then adjust my life to be able to continue doing that, because that's going to be the thing that's going to be taking most of my funding, other than food and rent and stuff. Like, I don't need an Xbox One. I would love to own a PlayStation 4 for the games alone, but I don't fucking need it yet. Same with my computer. Until my computer is dead, which will be very, very, very upsetting, because I'm really trying to make sure that I at least have some income, so that way in the event that my computer does inevitably shoot the poop, which means I should probably be taking better care of it. Sorry, don't die on me. I love you, baby. But, the day that my computer dies, I'm going to be really upset, because that'll be the thing. It's not going to be a nail in the coffin, but it certainly will be a giant setback. Famous last words. Link1299. Never able to stream again. And I mean, the nice thing is I have 2 computers, so hopefully that'll extend the longevity of me being able to put off things like maintenance for any given system. Let's just hope everything doesn't die at once, but you know, life likes to do stuff like that, them curveballs and whatnot. But, yeah, like, I have what I need. I have what I need right now, and when I think about it, it does not cost a lot. And I can work with that. People need to accept that you don't need to make a basement. Like, the base minimum is much lower than people think it needs to be, I guess, to even live comfortably. I believe, like, because a lot of personal living is on the individual, not on the circumstances. You know, sure, you might have to live in a shitty apartment. Well, then you adapt to that. You adapt to it based on the resources you have available, not the other way around. You don't you don't improve your resource pool first. No, you figure out how to live off of your base resource, whatever it is, and then try to figure out how to adapt your base resources. So, let's see how this is going. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Is a burbo. It's a Struthiomimus. It's all pink. You guys asked for it. Man, I'm just impersonating all sorts of people. Demo for shit posting, Bob Ross for paint. I almost said now back to Carl Sagan rants. And man, I feel bad about this. Real tack. No, more like confessions from a shill. Man, I would have loved Carl Sagan. I never actually watched him. I never actually watched him growing up. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm not saying I shouldn't. I just, and Bob Ross. I actually didn't grow up with Bob Ross. And watching Bob Ross, I'm like, man, he would have really inspired me when I was a kid. He would have been a pretty heavy inspiration if I would have watched him. Not to say that I didn't have my own. I had Bill Nye the Science Guy, I'm trying to remember what they're called. The brothers, the Animal Brothers. They were also really big in my childhood. They got me into animals and stuff. I don't know what got me into dinosaurs other than probably my dad, but you know, yeah, I don't know. Young childhood inspirations for my passion for sciences. It's really weird. I feel like a lot of that was picked up on my own from influence, like people, family members recognizing I liked those things and just kind of goading it, which is fine. It ended up being that I loved those passions, so it's good. Same with drawing. And they still do. Like, I wanted to make a Link Comes Back from Family Festivities Part 2, holiday festivities, and it was just going to be me throwing it would have been like me throwing fat stacks. I got all sorts of paper. I got paper. I got bills on bills. And by that I mean I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sketchbooks for Christmas. I got a lot of sketchbooks for Christmas. I'm putting them to use. Don't you worry. Like when they were like, we wouldn't known you were gonna get so many sketchbooks. We would have gotten you something different. I was like, no. While I'm like, man, this is a lot of sketchbooks. I certainly will use it. Trust me. It's fine. I still appreciate the number of books. I would use them. I mean, I already have. But for me, like personal, if I was to say my number one childhood inspiration for art and science in just one big old fucking bucket is just from a personal standpoint is probably Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was described to me as me as a human being in his time. He was dyslexic, he was a scientist, interested in the natural sciences, and he was an artist. The artist part I just picked up later in my life, but still. Like, all of those things. He is someone that, while he's kind of described as, like, you know, being kind of, you know, not hugely successful in the sense of actually finishing anything, he still is, like, kind of a mark of how history doesn't forget things quickly. You know, historians remember the true, and that the qualities of an individual don't need to be perfect for them to be memorable. Being dyslexic, I'm sure that was very difficult for him. It's fucking difficult for me. Why do you think I talk the way I do? You think it's like a fad? You think I do it on like as some sort of joke? I mean, I do. I recognize it is very funny. But no, that's just how I talk. I just sound retarded sometimes. But yeah, no, like I had difficulty learning to read when I grew up. Reading is still something that I'm just like, I'd rather not. I can do it. I'm not illiterate, though my behavior would suggest me otherwise. I am, in fact, not illiterate. But, yeah, I don't know. He certainly was someone that, when I was younger, it just was a really fascinating individual. And then a lot of other inspirations to me when I was growing up. The Allman Brothers. Now I feel bad for this. Wright Brothers. What the? Another one of my brain farts. Doesn't matter how famous or important they are to me, I will still forget their name. Sorry, Ted. But yeah, like the Wright brothers played a huge influence on my interest in like technology and engineering. I love airplanes. I think airplanes are fucking cool. We being bipedal terrestrial creatures figured out how to fly is fucking cool. Like I said, that things like that just feel very benign to normal people, and I'm just like, we could get on a metal cylinder with with fucking boards strapped to the side of it and fly through the goddamn air. How do people not find that cool as shit? Like, really? Shit's awesome. And the Wright brothers were the ones who invented the plane, or at least figured out how flight actually works. And they kind of inspired me from a science aspect and a physical science, like how physical science can be used for humanity to adapt to their environment and develop in ways that that many creatures had to do biologically on their own, but we've done in a more unique. We've definitely done it in a way that nothing else has. That's fucking cool, man. Shit like that just it's so cool. It blows my mind every day. Not saying I look at a plane and I go, oh my god, a plane flying ahead, but no, like when I think about how a plane works, it's just like, wow. We really figured out something amazing that we found our own way to adapt to it without requiring to biologically develop those traits as a species. Like, we didn't need to develop wings to learn how to fly. Arguably, we developed wings artificially, but and that being a form of adaptation, but it's still like things like that. That's people think that humanity and artificial creation are like somehow separate from biological processes, and I'd really rather not. Artificial conception of machinery and stuff is just a biological adaptation to a limitation we lack, or to a physiological limitation that we lack. We can't swim, so we made boats. We can't fly, so we made planes. Those are still biological. Those are still biological processes in a way. They just aren't natural in a sense. It keeps on going back to, in reality, everything is a natural process. We might have artificially created it, but it was our adaptation through which is a natural process, that we came up with those creations, and we came up with those ideas, and we came up with those ways of overcoming a biological limitation. And just people don't consider that. They don't think about stuff like that. So go ahead, judge me for not giving a shit about politics. I don't fucking care. I care about the fact that humanity was able to learn how to fly. How dare I? And yeah, I don't fucking judge people. I I don't judge people in the sense of, you know, if they care heavily about politics. You know, that's their choice. That's what they decide to care about. I just don't fucking be upset. There's no need to. Being upset at me for not giving a shit about politics just feels like a waste of your time. Waste of my time. And I'm more patient. I don't care. How's this coming? It's getting a little dark there in the middle. Might start focus on branching out my colors. Patterns are really cool. I've been trying to think of how to do more patterning in my work, and usually with color, that actually just boils down to understanding that, you know, you can use a color to differentiate, but not change the shade of your base. Also, if you're curious what I'm doing, I kind of want to do like a series of quills on the head. Not too many, just a couple. Some plumage. That's also something that I really embraced and loved, even when I was younger, about art, and especially with paleo art. Paleo art is awesome because you can really stretch your imagination with it and not feel like you're just making stuff up, you know, because you can base it on real life and stuff, but you really can just have fun with it and really just make these really interesting and unique things, you know, that people hadn't considered before. Get some darkness in there. Stuff over there. And a lot of color, like, oh no. A lot of parts of animals are actually just like more of different shades at different parts of the body. Oh no, somebody texted me. Are you watching right now? You spooking me. Don't contact me while I'm doing this. I gotta focus. Someone talking shit. Are they calling me out? Did I say something wrong? Who day? Oh wow, that was fast, Jackson. He's playing Undertale. That'll be a different conversation for another day. Undertale's very good. Play it if you haven't. That's not what I meant to do. But yeah. That's the nice thing, is like you can be a little bit more creative, I feel like, with paleo art. Not to say like you know, I enjoy drawing that lizard, and I think there's a lot that goes into to just biological illustration in general that I think is that I always kind of knew, but I never really recognized how much I cared about it. And you know, the natural world is more than just, you know, something we need to protect because, you know, we have one planet. It's just a beautiful place, you know. A lot of animals, a lot of life, and I'm not like super hippie, and I'm not, you know, I eat meat. I think predators and predation is super important, and that being, you know, an omnivorous species, there's nothing wrong with consuming the flesh, but like, you know, but I also am like, I get if you have ethical reasons, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I don't judge your choices. I don't judge your choices, you swine. But no, like, eat meat, don't eat meat. I don't fucking care. The only time I care is when I gotta cook for you, because it's annoying. No other time. It's just like, damn it, it's so much harder to cook for people who don't eat certain things. I eat everything. Food's delicious. Yeah, like, I don't think I'm a better person for it, so. This is a comedy channel. That's not what I wanted. But yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and try to focus on actually finishing this tonight. Show you guys kind of like an actual way to. I've been trying to like not so much cut out, but I'm gonna start focusing these streams on projects that should take a single evening. So while my other project, the meme, was cool, that took a little too long. You know, I wanna have something I can show you by the end of the night and practice on getting faster, and just generally, you know, we're Bob Rossing it up. Give you guys a finished product by the end of the night. Give you something to chew on. Not just be like, and then next time, Link decides he's going to spend another 3 hours on one pot and not actually make much progress as he laments about his life choices. You know. You're gonna hear that anyways. Might as well also actually be productive, right? Jokes aside about that, I mean, I want to believe that I'm better than that. You know, I don't just bitch. I try not to just bitch about my life. Life sucks. Life sucks. Period. It's not life sucks, get over it. It's not life sucks, don't be a bitch. It's life sucks. Yay. Have fun. Don't die. Use protection. So, because, you know, like, with the case of nature, nature doesn't fucking care. Biological processes don't care. Adaptation doesn't fucking care. Nothing, to get a really nihilistic here, it doesn't care. But because it doesn't care, you can take the pressure off of your life to believe that there's any expectation that you need to live it to a degree of judgment that is expected of you. Nature doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care about you, but it doesn't hate you. It never hates you. It doesn't care what you do. That being said, you are the individual who needs to limit that for yourself, I guess. Again, I feel like there still needs to be, like, you know, social standard of plenty of things. But the fact of the matter is you can't just also... There is a balance. There's a balance to everything. Let's get Buddhist. Like, you can't just lump everything together. You can't just judge everything based on a shallow perception. You gotta weigh judgment. You can't just accept or deny everything. That's a scary thought to me. That the way people view the world is it's all of something or it's nothing. So it's such a limiting mindset to be in, honestly. It means you'll never look past anything. You'll always base it on some sort of superficial premise. Just because the superficial premise is different for the same thing, you're still judging it superficially. You know, one person will say it's always this and the other person says it's never this. Both of those are superficial observations that could be true. But then no progress is made. So, yay. Yeah, I want to be better than that. That's my choice. I want to encourage people. I want to encourage children to be interested, not concerned. The key term here is interested, not concerned. To tell children that humans are horrible and that we got to protect the environment all the time, and that, you know, I don't actually think that helps. I don't think it's a healthy thing to tell children that their own species is a fucking pile of shit and we're ruining the planet. And then it's also their responsibility to prevent other people from fucking up the planet. No. You develop that. You develop an interest and appreciation, and then they'll just intrinsically care. They'll see that people are being horrible, and then they'll do their part personally. Because they were never told to. They were never told, you need to give a shit about the planet because the planet's dying, and people are horrible and ruining it. That doesn't solve anything, and it doesn't encourage people, because you're not educating them. You're just telling them how shitty everything is. I don't want to do that. I refuse to do that. I want to actually educate. I want to actually inform. Tell people what they can do. Get people interested and involved and caring. Not just tell them that they're a part of the problem if they don't care. No, like legitimately be like, hey, there's some cool stuff. Check this cool stuff out. It's cool as fuck. And that's it. I don't have to say how it's cool as fuck. Now make sure it stays, make sure you continue to provide and the cool stuff doesn't go away. No. Just tell them, this stuff's cool as shit. Show how cool this stuff is. And I won't say I can guarantee, but I certainly can say that it will help more than continually berating people. Like, when I think of Steve Irwin, I don't think of an environmentalist who kept on harping on about how people are ruining the planet. I think of a guy who held up crocodiles. I think of a guy who showed us how fucking cool animals are, how metal they are, how awesome they are. When I think of, and that's the point, you know, when I'm doing this, when I'm going to be doing this, if I get this job, I'm going to be stoked to tell people about how fucking cool animals are, to share my knowledge of animals. I want to share my knowledge. I don't want to show how much I know. I want to share it. It's not about, because I don't think I actually know that much, and I need to do a lot more studying. If I'm going to take this job seriously, I'm going to get online and start reading up on things again. I haven't done that in a while, and I feel really bad about it. But I'm going to, I'm not going to change the world. I just want to start showing that, the best way to go about this is by getting people to care for themselves, not telling them they should care. You can't make anyone care about something. You can't make somebody care about something by telling them that they should just care about it. You need to actually give them some substance. You need to give them something to give a shit about. And I hope people appreciate, represent. I mean, I've been told, a lot of people have been like, no, Isaac, you, we all, we all are dead inside. You're like actually stoked and legitimately interested and impassioned about paleontology and stuff. Do it, man. And I'm like, thanks, guys. You're making me feel real good. But really, like, thank you. I mean, I actually do appreciate that thought and sentiment. You know, I'm, I'm not here to be like, to, I don't know. It's really strange to think about it. Maybe I need to take on some responsibility on my part then and be that. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is what I want to do is take on the responsibility of being the one to get people invested, um, actually invested, not just tell them how they need to fix the planet, but actually invest people in the environment and be, the kind of person to be like Steve Irwin, be like Bob Ross, be like that. And I'm gonna keep doing these streams if it feels good to talk about stuff like this. I enjoy talking about it. Uh, Again, it's not a fucking intelligence wank off for me. I feel good talking about stuff like this. I'm not the kind of person who just digests information and then uh, repeats said information to people to prove how quote unquote smart I am, um, which is also a practice that honestly I don't really agree with and don't really understand personally because I'm a dumbass human and accept it. I don't need to prove how smart I am. I'm not very smart to begin with. I just am very interested in certain things and I express them passionately. You know, that's why I'm kids also share a lot of kids are more likely to share that kind of passion for that feeling. Ooh, that's getting really dark in there. I need to lighten it up. Gotta get a little bit more of this. Just get in there. Stroke it in. Don't need a lot. Like, I don't know if I've been on the fence again recently because I've had not necessarily negative interactions, but I certainly have been like, I don't know if I want to have a kid. It's a lot of responsibility, and I don't know if I have the mental fortitude because I could hardly even keep a job at the time. But no, kids are. The more I think about it, I'm still like, I can't wait until my brother's daughter is old enough to start talking and start like, because I want to be the uncle who like takes him to the zoo and like, or be the uncle where I'm like, hey, come out to Lawrence and bring your daughter and we'll just chill out at my work at my job if I'm working at that pet store and like just play with the animals with her and stuff, or just not even like not while I'm working, but just be like, hey, I'm off today or something, but I decided to go to Pet World and just dick around, um, and like be that kind of outlet for her. I think I am excited for that because kids are they're just you know a window into a an innocence that is really a true inquisitiveness of the world, an unbiased inquisitiveness of the world. They don't have anything like to sway their interest other than they want to know more about the world. They genuinely want to know something, and they they are easily fascinated, and I think that's an amazing trait. To be fascinated with the most petty things to most people. I think being able to be fascinated by things that don't um, that don't strike most people as fascinating is a great trait. It's kind of humbling, you know. Hell, that's why I like. That's why I've been reading probably more Yotsuba recently, and that's why Barakamon is one of my favorite personal animes, and I fucking hope my brother's daughter grows up to be Naru, because I will encourage the fuck out of her to be the little rapscallion that Naru is in that show. But sorry, Michael, I'm gonna do it. Your daughter's not gonna be a wild child necessarily, but she certainly is not gonna. I'm gonna. Be a marginally bad influence. I'm just gonna encourage her to run in the mud and roll in the mud, get her hands dirty, have to take a shower after every single time she goes outside. But yeah, like, you know, a kid. I actually think kids aren't super easily bored, especially if you try to keep them engaged with something and try to keep them interested in something, because you can interest a kid in almost anything. It really is fascinating. Like, you can make anything be cool to a kid because it's new to them. And that's awesome. Kids are awesome. Moral of the story. Kids are cool. Usually the parents suck. But, yeah, like... How's that gonna be? Woo! Oh, it's all pink. Burb. I made a burb. Oh, this came out pretty good. Hey, that's pretty good. iDubbbz, do not take down my channel for coining your meme. eDubbbz, don't kill me. Paleontology is something I still feel impassioned about. That's why I'm really interested in this job, is because I feel like being a paleontologist, I can also add more, be like, be giving more details than just where this animal lives. I can also be like, this kind of animal is actually related to these animals, or this is when this animal even first existed, and how long it's been around, what other animals it was like, other various traits like that. So... I like biology. I want more people to like biology. That's what I want. Biology is cool, and anyone who tells you otherwise is a nerd. Is fake and gay. Unreal and homosexual. There we go. To kind of explain what this is, theropods are known for the main two biggest groups of dinosaurs are theropods, or are saurischians, and ornithischians. Theropods and actually all sauropods too, which are the long-necked dinosaurs, Brachiosaurus, Apatosaurus, Camarasaurus, all those. They have a hip structure that's characteristically distinct from the hip structure of ornithischians. All saurischians, including birds actually, which is really ironic because saurischian means lizard hip, whereas ornithischian means bird hip, but the birds are the saurischians. They have a hip kind of shaped like... Well, actually, let me see what the hip of Struthiomimus looks like. And this is like half the hip, by the way. This is going to be a sideways look. Oh no! One second. That doesn't help me at all. No, science, you failed me again. Oh, here we go. So, God, I can't remember names at the moment. I'm going to have to Google all of this. I think it's the pubis is what it is called. But the Struthiomimus hip in general, you have like the top of the hip here, which kind of is like this, and you have the ball joint for the where the socket is. This is the actual hip, and then on all theropods, the ischium and the pubis are separated, whereas with ornithischians, they're kind of like closer and fused together. So Struthiomimus's hip kind of looks like this. I believe this is the pubis. And this is the ischium, kind of. Something like that. And usually, I like to have the ischium kind of poke out and then have everything connected under here with the pubis. And I like to have it to kind of like stick out a little bit and then have like a little bit of skin showing, a little bit of rump. Because I feel like it, I guess. So... But there you go, science. You learned something, I hope. I taught something. I hope. You feel educated yet? Do you feel liberated? Are you fucking sorry? Let's us all remember, no matter how serious I take myself, I am still a shitposting meme lord. And a bastard man. Primarily that one. As coined by my friend group. Listen, though, our friend group, we're a basket of bastard men, so we all love each other for the bastard men we are. I love you, Arthur. If you're watching, I love you. One thing I'm also trying to get better at is make final products, but also be able to like determine that they're final products. Because I have a really bad habit of feeling like I just kind of finish something, but I could have worked on it more. Or work on it for a while and be like, I really want to show this because it looks good, but it also doesn't feel finished. But I'm trying to stop doing that. To stop doing that. I'm trying to stop the act of doing that. Mainly it just feels like poor practice. It just means like I keep on not actually making finished work. That was something I took an illustration course in college. That was the biggest struggle I had with that course, along with all the other shit that I was going through at the time. That was my fooly cooly time of life. Everything was fooly and cooly. I learned a lot about myself. It was not a fun time, all things considered, but I learned a lot. But that kind of killed my motivation to want to do anything. But bless his heart, the teacher I had really was good support and one of many instructors in my time who helped encourage me to continue doing the things that I'm passionate about. And honestly, kudos to you guys. I mean, I'm still doing this, and I'm glad that I am. I'm glad I can do this. And I'm glad I can do it the way that I do it. So, but yeah, that class, I only got a C in it because I just fucking was lazy and unmotivated overall and depressed. Though let's be serious, it's still questionable whether or not I'm all the way not depressed or at the very least chronic. But that aside, I was really having a bad time at that time, and you know, some of my first works that I really recognized from a personal standpoint came out of that class, and it was the first time that I ever drew a serious work like of nudity. And the thing that I realized with that work was that kind of is what got me into drawing more, and kind of my basal inspiration, which is mostly, at least so I claim, is like Greek sculpturing and Greek figuring and that kind of mentality of the human form is from a illustration of a sculpture from the local art museum on campus. That the life or death sculpture that we have is what I used, and then since then I just kind of continued doing it, and now it's just become a piece that I relatively enjoy doing and feel like I'm very good at, especially coming from me, who for a long time was like, I don't like drawing anything but animals. I don't like drawing people. Well, that's not true. I still drew people even in high school. I had a lot of cartoons. I used to draw a lot of cartoons as well. I haven't drawn a cartoon in a long time. There was a short time where I thought about webcomics, like just making a webcomic, but I don't feel like I have the writing skill. And my humor is more akin to this than it is to writing. I'm not a writer. Well, I don't think I'm a very good... writing is not my forte. I can be a writer. I'm better at this. And I still practice a lot of writing. But I certainly don't write my humor, that's for sure. Maybe I should. I've been trying to make it a point to not so much get out of my comfort zone. I mean, I always do that, like that's something new. It's more of, I try to make it a point to be like, just because I'm not very good at something doesn't mean I shouldn't practice it. Practicing the things you're not good at can make you better at the things that you're good at. True fact. Inspirational quote of the day. Don't let people hit you with sticks. But yeah, like, you know, just because you're not good at something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, doesn't mean you shouldn't practice it, doesn't mean you shouldn't even enjoy it, or doesn't mean you should not enjoy it. Half of my stuff wouldn't be as good as it is, or half of my like jokes wouldn't be as good as they are if I didn't appreciate the fact that I can really just find very unique and colorful ways to mess stuff up. I think. And that's the thing, is like, it's not that I think I'm the funniest person on the planet, it's just, if something doesn't, like, make me laugh, I just don't see the point. Why would I want to try to make humor that doesn't appeal to me too, I guess? So, you know, like, I'll rewatch my stuff, and it's not that I think I have the best content ever. It's more of, I just still think that content is funny. I made it because I found it entertaining, actually, for me to do. Not just, what was this thing I could make? And, you know, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that, either. I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people, like, and I still watch old stuff, and I'm like, man, was I fucking high? Was I just an idiot? Like, why did I think this was a good idea? So that'd be really funny if this is like the one streaming session where there's been nobody here. Nobody said anything for a while. If nobody's in the room, I'm still gonna continue, but hey, there's somebody in here. I hope you feel educated and at least a little entertained. I don't know. I might do more stuff like this. Like, I might just find a topic. I might start looking into topics I can talk about, and then focus the specific topic, or have whatever I'm doing related to the topic if it's a drawing. So I could talk about a game, and then be like drawing a character from that game, or drawing an aspect of that game. Uh, that could be something I could start doing too. I could want to talk about a specific kind of animal or biological process, and then focus the art on that, you know. And then again, like keep on doing the little art jabs I have and whatnot, you know, just general artistry and things that are based around that. And of course, I am super grateful. Uh, you know, I think originally I wanted it to be a joke, but I can never be Demo. I can never be Demo's level of hatred for his own fans, though. I think that's just, again, a gimmick in and of itself, and that, you know, he hates us. Tough love. It's the reason why we love him. He hates us, so we hate him in return. But you know, I don't think I can ever get to that point. I can get close. I could be semi-abusive. That's the closest I'll ever get. I'll just be more neglective. There, Demo can be kind of neglective. I'll be neglective. That's the worst I'll ever get. I'll neglect you guys. It'll be fine. It's a burb. It's a dino burb. How should I do the eye? I feel like we got the yellow. Just go ahead and... The thing about eyes, actually, with most animals and birds that I've realized is the eyes of animals are usually very colored, so that way it's hard to determine where they're looking. And usually they're actually very dark. So go ahead and add some dark in there. There we go. Yeah, kind of like that. This is kind of a bird eye, so they got a little bit more of a defined pupil. But most animal eyes are colored with the intent of making it difficult to determine whatever else where it is looking. In the case of predators, it's to, you know, make it difficult to determine if for prey to determine if they're being watched, and then in the case of prey, it's to make it hard for them to determine, make it hard for predators to determine if they have been spotted or not. Vice versa. It all boils down to tricking the watchee, or the watched, into not knowing if they're being watched. Humans actually are the exception to this rule, in which we found it biologically advantageous to be able to tell where our eyes are. I mean, like, that's just some basic human biology, but yeah, no, that's why our eyes are white, is because it is advantageous for us to know where we're looking. But that's from a social aspect and standpoint. And that's kind of an example of how biological processes aren't aren't biased. Like if you can find if you if nature finds a way that works, it doesn't matter what was already successful before. It's just gonna stick around regardless of future adaptations. Unless it is negatively impacting, typically a adaptation is usually on the individual species itself, not just physiology, to develop that behavior. That like ingrained instinct is a part of biological adaptation, but I think most instinct is still a development from the species itself. It's not just something that's ingrained purely into their biology. You know, it is actually a development from their environment. Because I mean, a lot of domesticated animals lose certain instincts because they just don't need to use them. But then they gain them back because they teach them to themselves. Like, arguably, I didn't know a lot of things growing up that I feel like I should have, that I just wasn't exposed to, but then I adapted. And I just see that as nature. That's natural. That's a natural response to my environment and being an adaptive being, not just a human being. Let's see, how long have I been going on this? That's looking pretty good, though. I feel like that's coming out pretty well. It's good. Certainly is much better than I was expecting. I feel like I need to do a little bit more, work a little bit more on the back area and the legs, but I'll finish those. I think I'm getting close to this area being pretty close to finished. I might add a little bit more texture to it, but I think that's looking pretty good, especially with the wings. Yeah, I think actually this has been a pretty. How long has this been going? Does it say? Well, it's been going for 2.5 hours, so I'll give this another hour-ish maybe, and then I'll go ahead and try to finish this. I'll have something looking like a finished product, hopefully. Like I said, I want the goal to be starting to get to actually finishing things. Oh no, cancel. Like actually showing finished products. So that way, you know, you guys get to see from start to finish, and actually come up with drawing things that are feasibly finished in that time. That's why I'm like, yeah, I probably won't do much more than draw this and then finish it. Really big projects, I really just have to tackle on my own time. There's no way I can get them done in a reasonable time. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That is something I want to try to stick to a little bit, is at least somewhat, is trying to make this a point of, it isn't even about the image itself, you know? It isn't about always seeing a finished product or always being able to see it completed. It's just about hopefully getting to see just some cool stuff made. Making cool stuff. Having a fun time. Bombing some dodongos. You know, that stuff. I feel like I gotta foot goes there. Toes are a little difficult, I've found, just in general. Like, I've struggled with feet quite a bit. Feet are kind of weird for anything. People, dinosaurs, animals. Feet are a weird spot. They kind of just are weirdly placed and awkward and in the way. And I used to be really lazy because I used to be like, who needs details? I don't fucking need details. That's for all them fancy nerds who draw like real artists. Really though, if you believe, like, you're like, yeah, this is cool, but I'll never be able to do that, don't. It's not a matter of not being able to. It just takes time. Like, you might not even be able to do it now, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't try, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't, because you'll start to recognize and realize that you just don't have the experience, and that's fine. No one is born knowing how to do anything. I do not believe that I was born knowing how to draw, and I certainly was not born knowing how to draw the way that I draw even now, because I certainly don't believe that the way that I draw now is something. It is something new. It's not something I've always done. So it just takes time and practice. You can't, and it takes a lot of study. It takes a lot of personal study, a lot of discipline. There's nothing wrong with that, Everyone's got to learn somehow. Like, I bet frickin' plenty of artists. I bet Da Vinci had works that he never showed anyone. I bet he had artwork that he thought was bad. I bet he also, didn't think that he would make half the things that he did. Not because I know him, but because I just think that is something normal. That's something that most artists think. It's just a part of our thought processes and beliefs, I guess. It's my beliefs, I guess. I shouldn't speak on behalf of all artists. I don't. Sorry. This is actually kind of a part that takes some concentration. Because you just got to get in there and get the parts lined up right. A lot of going back and forth. Just gotta... Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of a little bit more like that. Shading's difficult, you gotta go back over it, and you don't want to oversaturate too many things. That's one thing I envy right now, because I just don't think I'm very good at it at the moment, is one thing that Bob Ross was really good at was just making things appear. Just like, and now I'm gonna make this turn into this. And you want to know what? Even if I can be like, yeah, I could see how he did that. It is it's even if I can be like, yeah, I get how he does that, and I could see how I would do that. It still is really cool to see. I get that, but I don't. Maybe I don't perceive it, but I don't. I don't think I do that very well. I feel like I spend a lot more time going over the same parts over and over again, if anything, making it become something. But I don't just put my pen to the tablet, squiggle a couple times, and bam, that's exactly what I wanted. I don't feel like I do that very often, actually. I feel like I'm more of a throw a bunch of paint on it and then sculpt it, rather than a make the exact thing I want right then and there. Maybe I'm a bad artist for that, but I don't know. That's why I do want to get better at painting, because painting's a little bit more, like, that's kind of what it does a little bit better, is you can just kind of manipulate the medium a little bit more to do stuff like that. Go ahead and make a shadow here. Maybe. Shadows are cool. I like shadows. They take a lot of practice, though. And I feel like I just cheat. The undo button kind of feels like a cheat sometimes. I actually do try not to rely on it. That's why I oftentimes use like the eraser before I use anything else, because I feel like a big part of art is actually like manipulating and using the strokes that you make to flesh something out, not just making the right stroke all the time. And that's why I feel like I can do something, because oftentimes when I draw, I don't draw one for one. I try to understand. Like, I don't just copy an image. A lot of people think drawing is copying an image, when in reality, a lot of drawing is understanding how something works to look the way it does in a 2D plane. Works in any given setting, and it's you creating it, not just you mimicking it. Sure, and in the case of science illustration, there's much more of a sense of detail-oriented. Second, I think I made that a little bit too dark. Actually, go ahead and. Oop. Just kind of pepper that in, lighten it up a little. I think I'm a little too zoomed in. Actually, it kind of works. But yeah, it's a lot less about, because like I only needed to look at the reference to get a fair idea. Like, I'm not looking at a pink picture of a Struthiomimus, and I'm not looking at a Struthiomimus in this exact pose. Like, I just needed to get a kind of a reference of what their bodies were shaped like, and then I have to fill in the blanks myself. I have to figure out how that shape is made. You know? And to do that, you kind of need to work with the flub ups and the mess ups. struggling to get a real sense of flow with my strokes. Now I'm getting it. I'm also, I would use layers on this one, but I feel like I just want to keep it simple and again focus on, because layers can also make you a little lazy, and that you'll just be like, oh, I don't have to worry about making mistakes because I'll just draw it on a different layer. But you know, you gotta balance that. You can't just. I still think technology is awesome and all, but you gotta be able to work within the limitations, because it makes for something more, not just more unique, but more genuine. There we go. There we go. Gonna add the kind of the back of the foot. Light is, I don't know where the light's coming for this thing, kind of from this direction, I guess. I should resize that so that way, oh no, that's not what I want. Kind of show you. Well, that actually got pretty close. It's more like this-ish size. But if you can see that, like, that's where the hip goes, kind of up here. And then this is where the pubis protrudes, and then the body kind of like loops around like that. And then that's just one half. Like, this is also more, I don't know. Let's really get into this, because this is more like goes in like that, I guess. And then I think all of the other half of the hip, there's like two of these, and it also goes in from the other side. So you'll have like, let me go ahead and enter that. Duplicate. This is probably going to look terrible. But the other one is kind of on the other side, and then it actually links up with the other pubis like this. But the other leg is kind of on the other hip like that. If that makes sense. So it kind of makes a V, and it's like two halves of the hip, and then you have this whole spinal cord going through. And I'm getting a little bit better at it. I feel like sometimes I mess up the proportions a little bit. But that's kind of how I figured out how legs work, and how the general body, that general torso area works. And that's why it really bothers me when a lot of artists actually like draw their paleo art and their dinosaurs like bone tight. I'm just like, they got muscles, they got guts, they got stuff in between. We as people, if you think of how the human body is shaped around the skeleton, like, we actually have a lot of flab. We got a lot of meat in between the bones. We aren't just our skeletons. And I mean, plenty of animals are the same way. They're very fleshed out. And then this is also, covered in feathers, so there's plumage. So I try to mimic that as well, and think of like what bits are in between, I guess, as well as remember, like, because they're birds, you got to think about, well, how is a bird actually fleshed out, even. Go ahead and kind of wrap this up. I'm getting close to finishing it. I feel like I could do a little bit more with the feet, but I also kind of don't want to. It's just a lot more effort, and I just want to keep this simple. And the legs, but Just add a little bit more. Actually, add a little bit of pink. I like the pink highlight in there that's given. It's real light and faint, so I'll go ahead and make sure that this is the lightest it can go. But I like the little color that adds. Just makes it pop. Just makes it go pop. See, pop. Freshest beats from this side of town. Link 1299. Faux shizzle. Get poppin'. Snoop Dogg's my home G. Faux rizzle. I'm not white. But oh, that's much more pink than I was expecting. Actually, that works. That'll make it a lot more vibrant. Because I want to add a little bit of a tail fan. You know, give it a little bit more flair and floofiness. The floofy bird. The floofy bird. Herf de fur. The Swedish Dortist. He flirk de burst. Herk de ver. I hurt the earth. Hurt the earth. Mert. Fork de for de borg. Fleming de dorsche shore. I'm so sorry. But, yeah, I think I'm getting close to finishing this. Go ahead and finish this up. Make that tail fan a little bit more pronounced. Go ahead, add a little bit more pink. Isaac, why does the tail look... Link, why does the tail look so flat? So fuck. Because I'm lazy. Because even artists can be lazy. Like I said, I actually do want to make it a point to focus on, no, I'm going to finish any given one of these in one night. You know, stop doing the multiple streams. Unless it's a project that I'm working on, that I am actively working on and need to work on, because I keep on procrastinating it my video game. You know, if it's something unique and new, I want to finish it in the night. I don't want to. I want to show, you know, yeah, that I can make a fully finished piece of some sort. Like, it'll start simple like this. It'll be one subject. I'll try to get to a point where I can maybe do a couple of things. Start working in backgrounds, maybe. Make it tests of endurance and ability. You know, keep it interesting. Yeah, this kind of has a little bit of a rough palette look to it, you know? Kind of, I got that, especially here, I got that, like, that kind of cross-hatching look. Add a little bit more of that. That's the nice thing about color and painting, is like when you get really good at painting, you press it on and you just make the thing you want happen when you really get good at it. And I do want to do that. I want to get that because it's very fast and you can get results immediately. It isn't any more time consuming than just how quickly you can make the thing you want appear. And I feel like I spend too much time like not focusing on that. Actually, I feel like I spend too much time having to go back over and fix a part and then come back. Not quite to the level of ruined fixed that Bob Ross gets. Hashtag ruined. Hashtag fixed. Hashtag fuck hashtags. There you go. I think that's looking pretty good. Hey, that's pretty good. Go ahead and add a little bit of darkness here so it's a little less flat. Finish this puppy off. Like I said, I'm not here to be Bob Ross himself. I'm not here to be Steve Irwin. Not here to be the animal bros. I'm not here to be Zaboomafoo. I'm here to be Link. Whatever I am, whatever I've become, whatever I'm going to continue to do, I'm going to continue doing it. I'll have plans. I'll plan on streaming again maybe later this week. Friday maybe. I'll try to stream a little bit more. Stream a video game. Might stream some more Insurgency. I had a lot of fun with that last time. I might stream Insurgency. I might stream Kirby. I might stream Halo. I have Halo for the computer, which is actually the version of Halo that I'm familiar with more than the Xbox version. We didn't have. We had an Xbox eventually, but we still owned Halo before on the PC before we owned it on the before we got the Xbox. So, no, my Xbox days were plagued with Mech Warrior. That game was awesome. Go ahead and make some feathers there. If we really want to get special, into this, here's the smudge tool. I haven't used this in a while, but honestly, like, the smudge tool is one of my favorite tools, and here's why. It's very good for texturing. You can just drag stuff out. Depending on how hard it is, I'm going to go up to 100 strength. There it goes. You can just take that and lift it out like a real artist. I haven't used this in a while, and it is actually very good for making textured feathers. So I might go over this really quick with the blend tool really quick, kind of get it here especially, because that makes it look more like feathers on the legs. And it looks a little bit more natural and a little bit more fleshed out. There you go. There you go. Yeah, the tail. What else could? And like the leg kind of could use a little bit more, but I think. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's okay. That's all right. I think I'm gonna call it. I don't know if I'm gonna shoot for 3 hours every single day, but you know, I feel like it's a pretty reasonable time slot. So. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and there. Turn off the palette. I'll go ahead and well, yeah, I'll go ahead and resize the canvas a little bit. Cropping tool, so that way this is just a little bit more focused, and not so much white space. There. Then we'll stamp it, give the good old brand, my branding. I'm branding my work, so that way, don't steal my artwork. I don't want to see it with anyone's name but my own. Actually, I'll go ahead. I might submit this to DeviantArt with prints. I usually have 2 watermarks. I have a print for I have a watermark for specifically for prints, and a watermark for things that I'm not gonna have sellable prints. I haven't sold any as far as I know, but in the case that I do, I don't want to have that other stamp on there with it. That stamp is purely there for my work that I don't intend to sell, but people can even more easily identify it. But yeah. I think that came out pretty good. I keep on saying you shouldn't be lazy. You shouldn't do it. I don't know. It came out pretty good. I think that overall for a first time work, in the sense of the first time that I'm trying to make a work that is finished, like in the time slot, this came out pretty good. So you know what? I think I'm gonna call it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give me a second. I don't know what to play for the outro as usual. I'll go ahead and I'm trying to think of something sciencey to play in the background. Something. Oh, well, I know what to play. And I won't cover this up with disgusting meme. So, have a nice night, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you next time when I rip off iDubbbz.